Hi everyone, I want to make you this hopefully short little video to help you out with the flowchart proofs that some of you are struggling with. One of the things that's making you guys struggle is that these flowchart proofs have asked you to go to the next level to find some missing information and to think about how you can connect that. A lot of that missing information is somewhat hidden, so I want to help you out in identifying that hidden information today. First, I have an example of one of the basic flowchart proofs that you first encountered where the information is not hidden. So I want to take this opportunity to review this problem, but also contrast it with the newer ones that are a little bit more difficult. So hold on, my Apple Pencil is not quite working, so give me one quick second. I apologize for the pause. There we go. Sorry, I had to connect it. Okay. So firstly, we know that we have some congruent segments here, some congruent segments here, and we have a congruent angle pair that are between them. So I do recognize this as an SAS congruency shortcut. I am going to include all of that information into my 3 boxes of my flowchart proof because that is what is going to come together to create my overall statement that I do indeed have 2 triangles that are congruent. So let's fill in the blanks here. First, I see that I have segment AB is congruent to segment DE. That's my first side pair. Next, between them, I have angle B congruent to angle E. If you need to name that with 3 letters, you could have named that angle DEF. That would be fine. And lastly, I have side or segment CB congruent to segment EF. Actually, CB is congruent to FE technically, so let's be careful with that because C and F are corresponding pieces. So I want to be consistent with that. The piece that some of you guys are struggling with is also right down here is that reason box right there. For these 3 pieces of information, we have just been told them. They've just been straight up given to us in the diagram, in the information from the problem. So I can go ahead and use given right there. But now I can go ahead and bring this all together, that the entire triangles are congruent. Triangle ABC congruent to triangle DEF. And this I have determined by the SAS congruency shortcut. Here's now an example of a diagram where that information is much more hidden. At a glance, the only information that's actually given to us in this diagram is that we have some parallel segments. We have AE parallel to CD. Those segments are parallel. That's great. Where is anything congruent? We don't see anything. But in fact, we actually have enough information here to actually determine that these triangles are indeed congruent. It's just that that information is hidden. Let me start out by highlighting a few pieces. Firstly, we've got a couple key angles right here that are always going to be congruent, even if those segments weren't parallel on the other side, even if nothing else was going on, simply because we have intersecting segments right here. Remember that these are vertical angles, so I'm going to kind of highlight that for you. We have these vertical angles right here. 1, 2. Those angles are congruent. We have more angles that are congruent on this diagram. Because of the parallel lines, we have right here, oops, I forgot to change that color. 1, 2, 3. There's my Z shape that creates my alternate interior angles. These angles are also congruent. This is my alternate interior angles pair. I have one more angle pair that I can determine is congruent by the parallel lines, but also by the third angle conjecture, because 2 angles are congruent, the third must be as well. But again, I can do the AIA pairing. There's my Z shape, and right here I have another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I have another AIA pair of angles that are congruent. The piece of information that would be missing in order to determine congruency of these triangles is that I need to have some information about a side length on this one. So let's say that you were also given some additional information that AD is a bisector of segment EC. If I was given that information as well, now we actually are going to be given enough information to determine congruence. So let's look a little bit closer at this. AD is the bisector. That means AD is the thing that's doing the cutting. It's like the knife that is cutting through EC. And when I'm bisecting, I am cutting directly in half. So EC is being cut directly in half, which means that this segment and this segment are actually congruent. EB is congruent to BC because B is a midpoint of EC, because EC is being bisected by AD. AD does the bisecting, EC is being bisected. But this gives me enough information to determine congruence. So remember the information from this. We're going to skip to the next page. Okay, so this is where the proof gets more complicated. Now you can see that I don't just have my three pieces, my three parts of a triangle that are going to come together to show congruence. I also have these two preceding reasons that allow me to even say that I have those parts. Because remember when I first looked at this triangle pair, I didn't even see the parts. There's very little written down. So these are going to be what is clearly given from the beginning and what is stated. Then we can follow that up to say, oh, we do actually have a corresponding pair that can help us determine congruence for the triangles. So we're going to work this backwards just a little bit. I know that what we have here is ASA. We put all of those parts together on the previous page. But what are those angles, side, and angles? Let's look at this with a little bit of a highlighter. We had those vertical angles in the middle, right there. We had the AIA angles, and I'm just going to pick one pair. That's enough because we only need two angles. And we also had that this segment here, EC, was bisected. So I knew that this segment was bisected. So I'm keeping this color-coded so we can keep it straight. This bisected piece right here, that's my side. That came from this given information. This is where we're going to state that given information. So we are given that AD bisects EC. That's given. That's what allows us to establish this congruent pair. EB is congruent to CB because a bisector divides a segment into two congruent parts. Okay. We've also got another pair over here that has that same thing. Some given information is going to allow us to establish those parts. That's going to be coming from these parallel segments here. So these parallel segments allowed us to determine those congruent angles. So let's go ahead and start there. So now we have AE parallel to CD. That was given to us in the diagram. That allows us to say that angle E is congruent to angle C because alternate interior angles are congruent, and you'll be able to find that reasoning as well. The last piece that we have down at the end there is angle ABE. Notice I have to use three letters because there is too much going on there at the middle. I can't just say angle B. Angle ABE is congruent to angle DBC because vertical angles are congruent. So lastly, let's establish the triangles overall. Let's be careful to with our correspondence. So let's start with triangle ABE. Now what corresponds with A is going to be kind of that unmarked angle over there. That's going to be D, coming in towards B where the vertical angles are, and then going outwards to that blue marked angle. So DBC would be our corresponding angle. So there's a lot going on. Let's just look at some additional missing parts without having to worry about the proof, but I wanted you to see the full proof in at least one problem. Here's another pair of triangles that are actually overlapping in this case. We have a bigger triangle here, and we have a smaller triangle here. If I draw them separately, sometimes it can make it a little bit easier to understand what I'm looking at. So bear with me while I do that. I've got the bigger red triangle and the smaller green triangle there. But I have some parallel lines that are happening. So again, I've got some corresponding congruent angles. In this case, what we have are corresponding angles right there and another pair of corresponding angles down there. Well, that's the angle on the top of these two triangles and the angle down on the bottom of these two triangles. Lastly, there's actually a third angle way over here in the corner that is the same in this triangle as it is in this triangle. This angle right here is a shared angle. It is congruent to itself. Shared, not shared, kind of look like shaved. Shared angle is congruent to itself between the two triangles, even though it's only appearing once in the diagram. It's part of the smaller green triangle as well as part of the larger red triangle without changing between the two. So that would allow us to establish a third angle of congruence. We'd need to be given some information about size in order to show that these are congruent. Clearly there's a larger triangle and a smaller triangle, so there's not going to be the case in this pair. But I wanted to give you the example of some additional hidden angles in the shared angle and in the corresponding angles. Here's another diagram with some missing information. Oops, I forgot to write the given information. The given information in this case is that AC is a perpendicular bisector of DB, and AC is an angle bisector. So there's my given information. So let's take take this apart for a second. So if AC is a perpendicular bisector, that means it's perpendicular and it's bisecting DB. That's letting me say that DC is congruent to CB. It's also letting me say that angle ACD is congruent to angle ACB because these are both perpendicular. Lastly, we have this piece that AC is an angle bisector. That means this angle right here is cut in half. And now I can also state that, oops, not A, sorry, let me erase this, that angle DAC is congruent to angle BAC because it's an angle bisector. In this case, what I have is angle, angle, side, but believe it or not, I actually have a third side that's happening, and we talked about this before. We have AC congruent to itself because it is a shared side by the reflexive property. It is congruent to itself in both triangles on the left and the right. Shared side, reflexive property. I'll write that down for you guys to reference that. Shared side reflexive property. So I have ASA, I have AAS, I have a couple different ways to show that the triangle on the left is congruent to the triangle on the right. Lastly, I just want to have a summary page for you guys to remember that these are the potential hidden congruent pairs that often pop up. We often have vertical angles that look like this. Vertical angles. We often have angles on parallel lines. So if I have parallel segments, I have congruent angles here and here, but I also have my AIA right there that are also congruent to each other, and AIA is really common in these. I have perpendicular segments. When things are perpendicular, that does actually mean that these angles are congruent to each other. Bisected angles or segments. If I have a bisected angle, I've got right there, and if I have a bisected segment, that means that I could have left and right congruent to themselves, or whatever segment is being bisected, it's created a midpoint. And then lastly, I have those shared angles and sides. Using the reflexive property, I can show that an angle or a side is being used in two triangles at once is congruent to itself. Thank you.